Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com. It is in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to us directly, tmosso@the1916company.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a big and bold watch based off of the essential frame and dynamics of the late 60s through 1970s big Navitimers. So you can see it features the differentially geared logarithmic scale, which is a little bit more complex than what you'll find on a standard Navitimer. It's a big watch too, and these are not just big because they are Bentley. These big Navitimers have a long and rich history in the Breitling catalog. This one has been reconfigured, at least as far as the scales are concerned, for motorsports. It's a big watch. The Bentley Motors T that you see here is 48.7 millimeters in diameter. It's 15.3 millimeters thick, and then it's 55.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip with a 24 millimeter spacing between the lugs. I'm going to throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see that this watch does not really fit me. You need a wrist bigger, maybe not much bigger, but somewhat bigger. I think you should probably have a 17 centimeter circumference wrist if you're going to wear this watch. It's not all that thick for what it is. It's broad and it's flat, but it does have quite a lug-to-lug span, and you can see over the top that those lugs are out over the edge of my wrist, which is kind of my no-go zone aesthetically and fit-wise. The strap is of extraordinary quality. You can see here that this isn't like the aviator's calfskin you'll find on a lot of Navitimers. This is alligator leather. Large, rectangular scale, symmetrical scale, always the most expensive cut of the beast, and cut thick. You can see no shortage with a sheer sliced side that's been pigmented to cover up the sheer of the cut. You can see it's black in profile. We have a contrasting stitch, which is aviator style, and then there are no perforations because this clasp, which is a friction fit clasp, actually features a crimping mechanism, so all the excess length goes underneath that clasp body, and so there's no need for minder loops externally. It's a very clean look. You can also see how the flank of the case has been somewhat scalloped so that the lugs can be drilled close to the case for a better fit and no impediment to the motion of the strap. So you can see that little recess in the profile. Now the watch does have a differential system that allows the bezel and the outer scale itself to move at different speeds. So that could be a little bit disorienting at first if you're used to the direct relationship between the movement of the bezel and the scale on a conventional Navitimer. A lot of people think this is some sort of helium escape valve. It's actually the cover to the differential itself. Taking a quick look, you can see that this is Breitling's captive bezel technology, so the bezel fixed to the case using screws. This is a system that ensures the bezel can't be snapped off casually by a blunt impact. It's a very robust system. Costs a bit more, takes a bit more time, but is definitely worth it. We have a screw-down crown. This watch is 100 meters water-resistant pump-style pushers. You can see a combination of high polish, satination on the lug hoods, and then we have engine turning, reminiscent of the engine turning you would find on historic Bentley automobiles. It remains a popular interior trim option to this day. A couple things about this dial. The first thing you'll notice is that that chronograph is moving awfully quickly. This is a Breitling original innovation that doubles the speed of the chronograph seconds hand. So it makes one circuit of the dial every 30 seconds, which makes it easier to read fractions of seconds. So you can see this little scale with the red numerals. Those are full seconds. Then you can read the eighths in between them, and it can be difficult to read eighths of a second on a conventional chronograph. This is an 8-beat movement though, so it has the potential, and with this double speed chronograph and the spacing out of the individual seconds, it's easier to read those fractions. Now you can see that the watch has a conventional running seconds in 60-second format over at 3 o'clock, and then you can see that it also features a little hours register down at the bottom, and we have our chrono minutes in a 15-minute format. Taking a quick look, you can see that each of the sub-registers has a polished bezel around it, just as you would find on the instruments of a Breitling or Bentley automobile. And I say Breitling or Bentley because there is a Breitling for Bentley, which is awfully meta. It's like when there was the Doritos Locos Taco, and then Doritos created a Doritos Locos Taco Dorito. So this is designed to be evocative of motorsports, and that's why we have 3 different landmark Bentleys on the back. Of course, we have the Continental GT from 2003, which marked the debut of the Volkswagen era in earnest at Bentley. It was an important car for business purposes and volume purposes, but it does share a lot of bones with the Audi A8, so keep in mind this one is more of a combination of Volkswagen and Bentley combined. The R-Type Continental is a combination of Rolls-Royce and Bentley combined. Created from 1952 to 1955, I believe 207 of those were made, and they were very fast 4.5 and 4.9 liter road cars that built their reputation on beauty, rarity, and aerodynamics. And then in the late 1920s, we had the Speed 6, and I think 100 of those were made, I want to say. I could be wrong on that. Could be between 100 and 500. I think that's probably closer to reality. And they were prolific winners in endurance sports car racing, including at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. You can also see right here, A25, that means acier, stainless steel. 25 is the caliber, which is a combination of the chronograph module and an ETA 2892A2 base, and then the 3 means it's chronometer certified. More on that in a moment. Okay, taking a quick look right here. The dial, we'll do a lume shot. You get a sense of how it looks in the dark, and you can see we even have luminescent sub-registers, which is a fascinating treatment, given that we have running seconds, chronograph hours, but not chronograph minutes. Taking a quick look, you can see, if my light isn't betraying me, that this is a very dark burgundy colored gloss lacquered dial with little flecks of silver sparkles in it, or little flecks of copper. Now, in terms of how the scales work, this one's a little bit unusual because normally the Navitimer would have you divide, for example, by, putting 9 over 4.5, and 9 divided by 4.5 would give you 2. But the way this actually works here is that it's almost backwards. So watch this. I'm going to put 9 over 3. And then I go to the index, so 9 over 3. You're going to take a look at how this works. I go back to the index, and you can see hours right there. 25, 26, 27. That little hours mark acts as the index for conventional multiplication and division, and this is exactly the opposite of how it works on a conventional Navitimer, where if you wanted to multiply, say, 9 by 3, you would put 9 over the index, then go find 3 on the inner scale, and that would be that. Now, if you want to divide, watch this, you put 9 over the hours, and then you go find 3, and sure enough, 9 divided by 3 is 3. There are other things you can do too, as we have seconds, we have hours, and we have minutes. So you can convert things, for example, number of operations per minute extrapolated out to hours, or number of operations per second extrapolated out to minutes. All of this can be used directly for motorsports. It's just a little bit different from how a conventional Navitimer scale works. You can also see that there's another scale here that says base 1000. That inner scale is actually a tachymeter. So these two outer scales are for calculations. The, I suppose you could say, third concentric scale is a tachymeter for gauging speed, such as of a race car over a kilometer. And then this innermost scale with the red numerals, that's actually a 30 seconds track that you can use to keep track of those chronoseconds and fractions of seconds. So upscale watch, not cheap in its day, powered by a movement that is automatic winding with bidirectional action. Again, it's based on a 2892A2, 42-hour power reserve, 8 beats per second, a vertical clutch system for the chronograph, plus the 30-second chrono seconds hand, 5-position adjusted, and a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. And again, this is a screw-down crown, and this is a 100-meter water-resistant watch. Reach out if you love this watch. You will have all things Breitling and Bentley, and I have to say I am rather fond of both. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for pricing.